Thank you. Can I ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Number one, I do want to start the meeting by acknowledging that one of our members is resigning. She's going to be moving out of town and moving out of state. So I do want to thank Mary Seminara for the years that she's been on a board, both as a member and as an alternate. I believe the town board is looking for a new member and an alternate. So if anybody's interested in joining us up here, you're certainly welcome. And I do just want to take this opportunity to thank all of our members because, again, we're all volunteers and it does take, hours of our time to be able to, review all the applications and do site visits and things like that. So thank you, each of you, for being here this evening. Changes to the agenda. Number 9 has been withdrawn, so all we have to do is do a refund on number 9. And we do need to discuss really quickly September 22nd. Our September meetings are with our upcoming meetings are Tuesday, September 22nd and Tuesday, October 27th, but we will not have council on the 22nd of September. So our options are either to move it to Thursday, the 24th, when we would be at the fire district headquarters, or to keep it on the 22nd and just recognize we do not have council that night.
I propose that we move it to Thursday, September 24th. To have a council really helps us.
Okay, agreed?
Agreed. Yes.
Okay. So we have a motion. So we have an official calendar, so we do have to amend the calendar.
Okay, I move that with the calendar for September be amended to have our meeting on Thursday, September 24th, 2020, starting at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. Second?
In the firehouse.
Yeah, in the fire district headquarters.
Second.
You're just too quick for me, Aziz.
All in favor? Okay. We do have one set of minutes to approve, the minutes from July 28th. Do I have a motion to approve those with very, very few amendments? Julie, thank you very much.
Correct. Second. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I'm just trying to catch up.
Okay, so since everybody's able to fit into the room this evening, we can explain how the meeting runs for those of you who are new to our process. So the first part of our meeting are decisions. These are applications that this board has already had an opportunity to review. We've had the public hearings, so we've already heard from the neighbors, and we're not prepared at the last meeting to roll out a decision, and so we have 2 decisions that we have to do this evening. Then we do have public hearings, which are applications that this board has already reviewed, but now it's the appropriate time for us to hear from neighbors. So if you are a neighbor to any one of these applications, you would be welcome at the appropriate time to give us your comments and feedback on the applications. And then lastly, we have reviews, which are generally the first time we are seeing applications. For a couple of these, we have seen them before, but there were a couple issues that we needed to resolve, so we've asked them to come back again. So with that being said, I'm going to go right to item number 1, which is a decision, Appeal 3938 Gabrielli. Donald Gabrielli of Carmel is requesting a variance to build on 2 undersized vacant lots, which would be combined for a total of 1.69 acres in an R3 zone on a non-town road, Arthur Road, pursuant to sections 194-130 of the zoning ordinance and a 280A variance. Does somebody wish to offer the resolution?
I'm just finding it, yes. So, in reference to Appeal 3938 by Donald Gabrielli, seeking an area variance from the requirements of the Schedule of Bulk Regulations to allow a single-family home to be constructed on a 1.69-acre property in an R3 zone, and to a variance from the requirements of Section 280-A of the New York State Town Law to allow property access to be from Arthur Road, which is not a town road. Location being on Arthur Road. Resolution being offered by zoning board member James Meyer. And whereas the applicant owns 2 tax parcels on Arthur Road identified as 6755-04-615244 and 6755-04-621233. And whereas these 2 tax parcels were believed to have been created in 1959, and whereas the applicant plans to combine these 2 detached parcels into one parcel, which would be approximately 1.69 acres, near and after the property, and to build a single-family house on the property. And whereas there are currently 3 other homes existing on Arthur Road, which are smaller than the property. And whereas the property is located in the New York City watershed, necessitating approval from the New York City Department of Environmental Protection, here and after DEP, and whereas the applicant submitted the required stormwater pollution prevention plan, here and after SWPPP, and whereas section 200-A of the New York State Town Law requires that access to the property meet certain requirements, and if these requirements are not met, then the applicant has a right to apply for an area variance. And whereas the access from the Arthur Road does not meet the requirements of section 280-A of the New York State Town Law, and whereas the Fire Advisory Board reviewed the proposed plan and wrote a memorandum dated December 3rd, 2019, recommending that the applicant, quote, maintain the width of the current 15-foot driveway for the next 100 feet, provide an established maintenance agreement for the road to permit year-round access for emergency equipment, end quote. And whereas this action is a type 2 action under SEQA and no further action is required, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals held public hearings on May 26, 2020, June 23rd, 2020, and July 28th, 2020. Whereas the legal notice was published in the Southern Dutchess News on March 11th, 2020. And whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the granting of the variances will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the community, as there are currently other residents with access from Arthur Road. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means. While numerically substantial, the size of the variances requested are not as significant considering that there are other properties nearby with similar or smaller lot sizes. The proposed area variances are unlikely to have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions. There are currently drainage concerns on the property, but the engineering solutions proposed by the applicant's professional engineer for the property are intended to remedy those issues. And the applicant will be required to obtain approval from the Department of Health and DEP. In addition, this is a type 2 action under SEQA. The alleged difficulty could be deemed to be self-created. However, these lots were created prior to the zoning ordinance being enacted, and the applicant will combine 2 lots. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the applicant's request for I, area variance from the requirements of the Schedule of Bulk Regulations to allow a single-family home to be constructed on a 1.69 parcel in an R3 zone, and double I, a variance from the requirements of section 280-A of the New York State law to allow access for the property to be from Arthur Road, which is not a town road, subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant obtains its necessary approvals from the Department of Health and the DEP. 2, the applicant complied with all recommendations listed in the Fire Advisory Board's memorandum dated December 3rd, 2019. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the decision order to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Is there a second?
Second.
So votes as follows: Jim?
Aye.
Aziz?
Aye.
And myself, aye. So your motion carries. Okay?
Thank you, folks. Thank you. Take care.
Have a good night. Yes, thank you. To go out this door. As you're exiting, we're just trying to keep if anybody is in the lobby, so we ask that you exit this door, and then you can either go out the town hall on the side or back through the front door there. All right, thank you. Okay, so item number 2 is Appeal 3957, Scalisi, Richard Scalisi, 47 Circle Drive, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a variance to build a 6-foot fence on the rear property line pursuant to section 194-98 of the zoning ordinance, and a 24-foot rear line variance for a 320 square foot existing deck pursuant to section 194-94. Resolution?
This is appeal number 3957. Applicant is Richard Scalisi, requesting a 6-foot fence on the rear property line pursuant to section 194-98 of the zoning ordinance, and number 2, a 24-foot rear line variance for a 320 square foot existing deck pursuant to section 194-94 of the zoning ordinance. The property is located at 47 Circle Drive, Hopewell Junction. A resolution offered by zoning board member Aziz Hassan, whereas the applicant is requesting a 24-foot rear line variance for an existing 320 square foot deck pursuant to section 194-94 of the zoning ordinance, and a variance to build a 6-foot fence on the rear property line pursuant to section 194-98 of the zoning ordinance. And whereas this action is a type 2 action under seeker and no further action is required, and whereas the zoning board of appeals held a public hearing on July 28, 2020, and whereas a legal notice was published in the Southern Duchess News on July 15, 2020, and whereas the zoning board of appeals finds that the granting of the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the community, as the property will remain residential in nature, the desired result cannot be achieved by some other means, as the deck and fence are already existing and the fence will promote privacy. The variance requested are not substantial. The proposed area variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. Now therefore be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals hereby grants the following variances. 1, a variance to build a 6-foot fence on the rear property line pursuant to section 194-98 of the zoning ordinance. 2, a 24-foot rear line variance for a 320 square foot existing deck pursuant to section 194-94 of the zoning ordinance. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the decision and order to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Second?
Second.
Votes as follows: Jim?
Aye.
Aziz?
Aye.
And myself, aye. So, Mr. Scalisi, your motion, you're all set. Now you just deal with the building department. Okay? Have a good evening. All right, so that's it for decisions. So now we're up to public hearings. So item number 3 is Appeal 3916, Gogriciani, Vladimir Gogriciani, 3569 Route 52, Stormville, is amending his request for a 2-foot sideline and a 73-foot front line variance for a pre-existing detached garage built in 1944, a 38-foot front line variance for a pre-existing 644 square foot dwelling, also built in 1944, and an expansion of a non-conforming structure in order to construct an 891 square foot addition has been amended from the original 247 square feet to the dwelling, pursuant to the Schedule of Bulk Regulations and Section 194-123 of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so, Mr. Gogriciani, you can come up to the microphone. So we have heard this appeal. We've discussed this a couple times. The board accidentally, or for whatever reason, we thought I guess we misunderstood his original request, and we actually did approve a variance for an additional 247 square feet months ago. But then you brought it to our attention that we had read that difference of the square footage wrong. You have a 1-bedroom house. You have a family of 5 living in a 1-bedroom house, and you're looking to add more than double the size of the house, to add 891 square feet to this house, to be able to add a family room on. And we are concerned, you met with an engineer who has told you you do not have the ability to increase your septic, so you do not have the ability to add additional bedrooms. And so you're asking in all for a house that's going to be 1,500 square feet with 1 bedroom. And so while you tell us you're not going to put any additional bedrooms in that house, this board has expressed a lot of concern that you're one owner. And at some point, you're going to recognize that that house is not appropriate for a family of 5, and you will move. And who you sell that house to may be of great concern because they won't have gone to the trouble that you've gone to understand that your septic is not capable of being expanded. It can only, this can only be a one-family, one-bedroom house. The other issue that we have is that the town code itself does not allow existing structures to be increased by more than 50%. So at most, the variance that this board should grant would be a 322 square foot addition. And we've already approved an addition of the 247 square feet. So you did ask us at the June meeting to proceed with the public hearing, so you wished us to go forward with this. But, I just wanted to lay it out there that these were the issues that we have been addressing so that your neighbors are aware of that, if any of your neighbors are here. And so I do want to ask if there are any questions or comments from board members before I open up for the public.
Again, I'm really concerned because the expansion is substantial. And again, as we mentioned, it's one bedroom. You bought the house knowing it was one bedroom. You knew that the septic was limited. And I guess now the engineers have told you that, that you don't have the capacity to enlarge the septic. So, if it was sewer system, then maybe it would be a different story. But here you've got a septic and it cannot, so I'm concerned, but I just want to let you know about it.
The only other thing, and I actually brought up, I think during one of the reviews, was the way the floor plan was arranged. It appeared to me that the addition was of something more than just a family room, the way it was being done, the way it was attached to the garage. So I have concerns about that as well. It's, again, more than doubling the size of the home for a large family, and it's not a piece of property that's accommodated for the use that you're now seeking to use for it. So that is my concern that's been expressed.
So is there anything else you wish to add before we open this up for your neighbors?
Yes, good evening. Actually, house is calling one bedroom, but it doesn't have any living room or like a dining room or something. It's just the two rooms. So he calls it one bedroom. There is a two rooms. So we got like living room, dining room, it's a one room, and just the one bedroom. Its name is a one bedroom, but it's not. It's a really small. So we really need the space to edit because we have some, like a dining room or something, even a family room. So the house is not really one bedroom. It's a tiny house. It's 600 square feet. So it's only two rooms, but then it's no other room in the house. It's really tiny. So
It's only 644 square feet. We recognize it's tiny, so.
Really small. Even architect, when he came over to draw the plans, he said, "It's let's call this room family room, and we can call the bedroom to, we can do it." But well, like you said, I went to the engineer. He said it's impossible to make a two-bedroom septic. But right now we have two rooms. It's only two rooms, and of course bathroom, and there is a kitchen and everything. So it's really tiny. So I think the house is like 2,200 square feet. Is one bedroom. Everybody see it. I'm in the construction. I see a lot of houses. So
Okay.
They call one bedroom, but they say 2,200, 1,800 square feet. I see the houses, but my house is 600 square feet. It's not the house. It's like.
No, again,
tiny.
I understand that, but again, the thing is, you have one bedroom with 3,000 square foot house, no problem. But the septic supports the thing. You have multiple problems here.
Right, but
septic.
I'll try to get the proof for the two bedroom, but the state doesn't allow
Right.
to give me. But the only choice I have now to have another big room, like family, to call the family room. So I'm not trying to do another bedroom or something like.
But part of the problem is the nature of the property itself, right?
The property is
You can't
1
put a
acre,
big-
but it's not usable.
That's not building, that's the structure. But the
Right.
property, the land itself, is what prevents you from increasing the septic and stuff, right? Is my understanding correct?
Yes.
And in terms of your argument that you need another room, we've approved 247 square feet. That would be a fairly nice-sized living dining area. The code allows up to the calculations 322 square feet.
Right,
I
though.
wouldn't have a big problem myself to jump from 247 to 322, but to jump to nearly 3 times that, to nearly 900 square feet, there's an issue there, especially because...
I'm agree with the percentage, but if you want, you can send the inspectors to see inside the house what's going on. There's a one big room, not even big, and one room where we're sleeping. So that's not really house. That's only 2 rooms now.
But Mr.
So we're
Gogrichiani,
in the family room.
you bought this house for your family, okay? So what you bought is, you're now living with the consequences of your purchase, okay? So just because you bought it and just because it is the way that it is, doesn't mean you're entitled to expand it, all right? That's the issue that we have here is, you know, the fact that you're asking to more than double the size of a house with a septic that cannot support a larger house.
I agree, but this, like I said, this is not the normal size house right now. This is just 600 square feet.
So that's why we're saying you already are approved to expand it for 247 square feet more. So
That's
you
not
can
gonna-
get this house up to almost 900 square feet.
I understand, but that's not gonna do nothing like for,
Okay, you know what, then let's just see if your neighbors are here and if your neighbors wish to offer any comments on it. Okay, so if you don't mind, we'll ask you to take a seat.
thank you.
So is there anyone here to speak for or against the request from Vladimir Gogrichiani, 3569 Route 52 Stormville, amending his request for a 2-foot sideline and a 73-foot front line variance for a pre-existing detached garage built in 1944, a 38-foot front line variance for a pre-existing 644 square foot dwelling, also built in 1944, and an expansion of a non-conforming structure in order to construct an 891 square foot addition. Anybody wish to speak? Seeing none, we're going to have to close the public hearing and reserve because we weren't sure what neighbors were going to say to this one.
Okay, so I make a motion to close and reserve.
Jim, second?
Yeah, well, I just have one question, sir. I mean, you're getting a lot of pushback from the board. I can understand your need to do an additions. I'm just gonna offer one more time, or suggest to you, or whatever word you wanna use, whether you wanna amend this application and maybe limit your request to the maximum allowed by law of 322 square feet. Do you wanna do that, or do you wanna keep it pending that you're asking for 891?
I would like to ask
You got to come to the microphone, please. To the microphone, please.
You want to keep your request for 891?
Yes.
Then I second the motion that we close and reserve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
So, Mr. Gogrichiani, we've now closed the public hearing. We will issue a decision at their next meeting. Okay?
Alternately, okay.
So we'll see you next month. You don't have to come next month, but we'll issue the decision. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And let the record reflect that we have now been joined by our board member, Rocco Simonson. Okay, so we are up to item number 4, Appeal 3963 Rodriguez. Michael Rodriguez, 45 Hoffman Road, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 5-foot left sideline variance and a 5-foot right sideline variance for a proposed 15-foot, 10-inch by 40-foot in-ground pool pursuant to Section 194-95 of the zoning ordinance. Ms. Rodriguez?
Motion to open public hearing?
Thank you.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I was worried, well, whether somebody was here for this application. Okay, so last month we did have an opportunity to review your application. You do have a rather large family that you were concerned about wanting to get a larger pool. You are in Hopewell Glen, which has smaller lots. And so the pool that you have selected, because it's the largest available, is a fiberglass pool, so it's lower maintenance than having a liner and everything else. It needs these 2 variances. I guess the issue that we had, and we discussed last time around, was the fact that you're asking for the pool to go this way. Sorry, I hate to touching microphones. So, and we did discuss whether it could actually go the other way or some other angle variation of that, and that's not your preferred option. So, but this is now a public hearing, so we do have to get the information that we did discuss at the last meeting on the record. This is subject to your HOA approval. Have you gotten HOA approval?
No, we were told that we seek the variance from the town first, but I did provide this to the board before I even came to the town, so they have it. They basically had stated to me that they just want us to stay within the blueprint, behind the blueprint of the home. So we are within our setback lines that they provided to us, so we don't
Do you
yet
have
have
something
that.
in writing from them? Because
No.
usually we do get an HOA approval before.
I will have to seek that before I could move forward, but when we began this process, we were told this comes first.
We usually get HOA approvals first.
That's a non-usual response, yeah.
And even in Hopewell Glen, we've gotten the HOA approvals first.
Okay.
So we just want to be sure, and your neighbors should be aware of whether
Right.
the HOA is going to approve something like this before.
Because that gives us the knowledge that you are in fact complying with their requirements,
Okay.
as opposed to us granting it and then saying you have to meet that, and we don't know if you can actually comply with the variance that we gave you, so.
Yeah, and then we had reached out to somebody who also sought a variance for their pool, and they too were told this comes first, and they followed the same process, and then afterwards sought the HOA approval.
Yeah, the step is the same, but the HOA gives us the blessing saying, okay,
Right,
we have reviewed it and we don't see any problem, then we give it to, and then it's already kind of pre-approved.
I
But
completely understand, yeah. Well, we didn't want to waste our time either by, pursuing the application and the money and everything, and then get denied too, so that is why I provided them at least the drawings too.
Okay, so let's just get it on the record for your neighbors before we invite their comment.
Okay.
Are you proposing any screening along the sides of the property so that the neighbors on the sides are not going to necessarily see? Are you going to have a fence?
I believe I provided the fence.
We need to get it on the record, so if you don't mind.
Sure, yes, I did. I provided the shrubs, the fence with the application. They will be around the perimeter of the property.
So the landscaping will be similar to the variance approved for a different property in the development?
Yep.
Private with lush greens, see attached. Okay, so you've got a fence, cast iron fence is what you're proposing there with shrubs in front of it. Because, even just from the picture that you provide, it's very clear that this pool's going to be very visible for your neighbors as well.
And I also provided the trees that are very, well, you won't be able to see the pool.
Yep, the arborvitaes and the,
I guess it's called Pencil Point Juniper.
are these ones that are deer resistant? Or are you going to be feeding the deer?
I honestly do not know that answer.
I'm gonna have to put a tree stand up.
You're going to have to be careful because deer generally like arborvitaes, but there is
Yeah, I don't know the name of it yet.
green giant, I don't know, something green.
Anyone in that family is going to be, deer are going to eat.
Deer food,
The
so,
only thing close is head-side Chinese juniper. but
so
they
you want to
still
be
eat
very
that.
careful because when they eat it down, they'll eat up to a certain point and then the trees just look horrible, so.
5 feet or so, maybe 6 if they
Yeah.
stand up high enough, they like it enough.
Pretty much, you put a black fence on them, and you can't see the black fence at all.
Well, a fence, we'll call it netting.
Yeah.
Netting. There you
Thank
go.
you.
I like that word, black netting.
All right. So any other comments or questions from board members?
I'm good.
So is there anyone who wishes to speak for or against the request from Michael Rodriguez, 45 Hoffman Road, Hopewell Junction, requesting a 5-foot left sideline variance and a 5-foot right sideline variance for a proposed 15-foot, 10-inch by 40-foot in-ground pool? Okay, so seeing none, do we have a motion?
We can either.
Well, do we want the HOA approval?
Well, I guess we could, if we're inclined to grant it, and put a conditioner subject to,
It's the only thing is it's going to be used against us next time.
yeah. I would like to
I would just adjourn the public hearing and pick it up with the completed document. Because of, there's other properties that have already gone through the process, so we want to be consistent with everybody else.
But we're judging whether it meets Town of East fiscal requirements, not whether it meets the HOA.
But it doesn't meet the requirements, and so you want to be sure there's an extra level of protection for the other owners, because again, these yards are wide open to each
Right
other.
next to each other, yeah.
So the HOA, in fact, has the voice of the neighbors, so that's why we really do rely on an HOA's approval first. Okay, so,
And we don't want to, not that it would happen in this case, we don't want to get into
I mean, we can
tension
do
between the homeowners and when it's granted it, why you have
Right.
to do it. So I prefer to have some sort of statement from them indicating that there would
What
be
else?
no.
Wondering, can we do a close and reserve and she can provide the thing in the next week, 10 days, and then we can
the
pick it up?
problem is, I don't know if the home HOA board has to meet to grant the approval.
That's true.
It can't just be
They
granted by
may
a...
have already, I don't know, like I said, I did provide this, I basically said, you know, if this is going to be an issue, I don't want to pursue this process with the town. So I would have hoped they'd say something, so I will definitely seek an
Yeah.
official approval.
I would
They won't be getting this blindly if it were to be approved from the town.
Can we close without it in the
Well,
sense that
when if we were to close, we technically have 62 days to issue a decision. Today is August 25th, the October meeting is October 27th. Is that beyond 62 days? September has 30 days, but August is 31. So that might be 63 days.
63, yeah.
So we can't wait till the October meeting. That's the dilemma.
I would just make a motion to,
So we can also ask Ms. Rodriguez, would you agree to it? So if the board closes the public hearing now and it doesn't receive the HOA letter before next month, would you agree that they can issue a decision in October?
That's fine.
Okay, because then it just gives us the extra, gives you time for your board to meet with us out without us having a clock
Sure.
on our...
So it'll be by October 27th, you'll get a decision.
Okay. Otherwise, unless I provide something.
Unless you provide something, then you can get your decision
Yeah,
next month.
if you can get it here in time for us to have a decision ready for the September meeting, that's fine,
Okay.
okay?
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So I'll accept the motion to close and reserve, recognizing that the applicant has agreed to extend the decision to the October 27th meeting.
in order to get the homeowners association letter
Approval.
indicating approval.
Right. So moved?
As
So moved.
second,
All in favor?
what I was commenting.
Okay. So you are all set. Hopefully you'll have it for next month, and we'll see you next month, or but not, you don't have to be here for a decision, but otherwise, October.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let me just make my notes here so I don't question what we did.
You're gonna have to take your own. You clean up after me.
Okay, so our next item, number 5, is Appeal 3964, Coudon, Sylvia Coudon, 586 Route 376, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 22-foot sideline variance and a 38-foot rear line variance to rebuild a 440-square-foot garage on the same footprint as the existing garage pursuant to Section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Pick a name. All right, so, you're both here, okay. So we did have an opportunity to review this at the last meeting. You have an existing garage, you showed us pictures where the foundation is buckling and the side of the building is buckling a little bit. All you're asking to do is to be able to replace the existing garage on its existing footprint. And I'm not sure I remembered, do we think we know when that garage was originally built?
Before zoning, we think around about 1950 or...
Okay, so it's been there, zoning came into effect in 1963 in this town. So it was obviously put closer to the property line than, because there was no limit on how close you could put things then. So you're gonna replace it with a structure that's going to blend in with your home, because you don't want it to stick out like a sore thumb either. But yeah, the existing garage is beyond its useful life, and that's really what you're looking at, is just to be able to replace it. So questions or comments from board members?
I'm good.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so is there anyone here to speak for or against the request from Sylvia Cadone, 586 Route 376, Hopewell Junction, requesting a 22-foot sideline variance and a 38-foot rear line variance to rebuild a 440-square-foot garage on the same footprint as the existing garage? Seeing none, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Rocky?
And
Can I just, I want to make one amendment to the decision. I just want to add that retaining zoning to the,
that's this one?
or whatever, yeah. But you can borrow your pen, though.
I'm like, what do you need?
Jim,
Okay, in reference to appeal number 3964 by the applicant Sylvia Cadone, seeking, in reference to a 22-foot sideline variance and a 38-foot rear line variance to rebuild a 440-square-foot garage on the same footprint as the existing garage pursuant to section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance located at 586 Route 376, Hopewell Junction. Resolution offered by zoning board member James Meyer. Whereas the applicant is requesting a 22-foot sideline variance and a 38-foot rear line variance to rebuild a 440-square-foot garage on the same footprint as the existing garage pursuant to section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Whereas the zoning board of appeals held a public hearing on August 25th, 2020. Whereas the legal notice was published in the Southern Dutchess News on August 12, 2020, and whereas this action is a type 2 action under SEQA, no further action is required, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the granting of the variances will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the community, as the property will remain residential in nature, and the garage is not visible from the roadway, and the existing garage has been in this location for many years so as to predate zoning. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means, as there has been a garage existing there for many years, and the applicant's only viable option is a like-kind replacement. The variances requested are not substantial. The proposed area variances will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood, evidenced by the fact that these are type 2 actions under SEQA. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby approves the request by Sylvia Cadone for a 22-foot sideline variance and a 38-foot rear line variance to rebuild a 440-square-foot garage on the same footprint as the existing garage pursuant to section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. And be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the decision to order to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Is there a second?
second.
And then votes as follows. Jim?
Aye.
Aziz?
Aye.
Rocco?
Aye.
And myself, aye. So your motion carries. You guys are all set. Now
Thank the
you'll deal
board.
with the building department,
Thank you.
okay? If you don't mind, pass that over to Jackie or Julie, just so they have a record of the amendment. Okay, item number 6, Appeal 3967, Webb, Michael Webb, 6 Logan's Way, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 40-foot front line variance for an accessory structure, a pool pavilion pursuant to section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Good evening. So we did have an opportunity to review this with you already. You are proposing a rather large pool pavilion, kind of like catty-cornered or
Yeah, right.
cornered, tucked into the corner of your backyard there. And so that's why the angle of it requires this variance, because you're a little, you're obviously too close to the backyard, but it kind of fits in. The issue that we had was that kind of off to the left of this, so visible from West Hook, East Hook?
East Hook.
East Hook Road, is the fact that you have a retaining wall with a chain link fence, but we actually discussed the fact that because it is a retaining wall and it is pretty far off the ground, we don't want young children or anybody who might be up there to fall, or so it probably makes sense, although I think you said you would replace ultimately the chain link fence that's there with the fence that you're gonna put around the, that you have around your pool area.
Right.
Because we actually agreed, you had a very
I
nice,
spoke to one of the people from a fencing company and got a quote as to what we can do to,
okay,
you know, to move it off of that wall, move it in a bit, and have it be appropriate for the
Yeah.
enclosure of the pool.
because that was the one thing that the building inspector had noted when he went out to do an inspection of the property, was that chain link fence. So, other than that, so we did get one letter. I would like to read that into the record just so that we have that. Dated October 19th, 2020. Dear zoning board members, my name is Nancy Lynn Ruffino, and I live at the above address, 40 West Hook Road. I am writing you in reference to Appeal 3967. It is my understanding that Melissa and Michael Webb, located at 6 Logan's Way, Hopewell Junction, New York, would like to build a pool pavilion in the back corner of their property, which is next to my side property line. Michael and Melissa Webb have my full support and blessing for building for their pool pavilion. This structure will not interfere with me or my property in any way, as the location they picked is well hidden by a wooded area. I can be reached at a cell number here if you, or any questions. Thank you. Signed, Nancy Lynn Ruffino. All right, so that's just one neighbor letter that came in, and again, we'll need to get that back to Jackie. All right, so comments or questions from board members?
I did a site visit of the location, because I was concerned about the wall and then a fence on top of it.
Right.
And what the situation it is, best way to describe it, that the terrain up there is like a knob. So the wall that is there is a retaining wall. And so, you know, it's basically the way it is. So putting a fence on top of the retaining wall is, in my thinking, is like having on the ground level, because otherwise, I mean, if you, so it's not this, it's not that they're expanding the height of the fence or the wall, it's just that it's a knob-shaped location where the retaining wall is, so that's the only way to do it. And then the structure will not be visible from West Hook Road. It might, well, and it may not be even visible from Logan's Way, because it's gonna be protected by the existing house. So the location is fine, I mean, so I did a site visit, and I'm okay with it.
Okay, so I just want to be careful that we have had other retaining walls with fences on top of them, so we do have to be careful about that. But in this case, I totally agree with you, because I'm very familiar with Logan's Way, that this is not nearly as visible as other retaining walls with fences on top of them are to driving locations.
That's
So,
correct.
all right,
I would agree, again, the concern is people who want to put up very high fences, make a retaining wall and put a fence on it, and I have no doubt that this is not that
Right.
situation. This is a safety concern and has to be addressed appropriately, so.
yep.
100% safety, yes, I agree.
And that's why I said that the terrain up there is like a knob.
Yeah.
So it's like a plateau or something, so it's just, they need to retain that.
Okay, so is there anyone here who wishes to speak for or against the request from Michael Webb, 6 Logan's Way, Hopewell Junction, requesting a 40-foot rear line variance for an accessory structure of a pool pavilion? Okay, we were not sure about the neighbors since this was so close, and the other letter didn't come in time, so we're gonna have to close and reserve this one,
Can I
okay?
make a motion to close and reserve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And so next month, we should be able to issue the decision on this one, okay? Because it's not like the other one where we're waiting for another piece of information. Okay?
And next month's meeting is on Thursday, did you say?
Yes, Thursday, September 24th. You do not need to be here, though, for a decision, okay? You're welcome to be, of course, but you do not have to be here.
Or you can
Okay.
watch it on television if you want.
Or you could bring pizza, beer, we're open.
All right, so have a good night.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 7, Appeal 3968 Mayo. Anthony Mayo, 8 Pine Brook Loop, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 13-foot sideline variance for a proposed 384-square-foot detached garage pursuant to Section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. So, good evening.
How are you?
So the way that you're proposing what you're proposing is going up the end of your driveway, that's where you'd like to put the garage, really kind of at the top of the driveway. But you have a bit of a gap, but not too much of a gap, really connecting to the house, because your driveway is awfully close, honestly, to your property line. So it is where it really belongs. I'm not sure that we got that we had a discussion about how visible is it from the road, because your house is quite a bit back, so,
I mean, you're gonna see it, but
but you're gonna make it look like blend in.
it's gonna match the house.
Okay, and
Same
it's,
siding, everything's gonna be the same.
how tall is it gonna be?
The same size, maybe 20, 25 feet high. It's gonna match the other garage, so,
Where's Ray? How tall are,
but it could be less, I'm just throwing a number out there.
is it gonna have a second story to it?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, For how tall? Yeah. 25 feet. So. Yeah, no, a shed can't be more than the 10 feet. Is it gonna have electric or water?
No water,
No water, but it's going to have electric?
it's gonna have electric.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's a
Garage
garage,
opener,
you're gonna
yeah.
want a garage opener, okay, understood, okay. Comments or questions from board members?
I'm good.
I have no questions.
Yeah, I think we talked through this one last time, so. All right, so is there anyone here who wishes to speak for or against the request from Anthony Mayo, 8 Pine Brook Loop, Hopewell Junction, requesting a 13-foot sideline variance for a proposed 384-square-foot detached garage? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? And
Rocky?
we do have a resolution.
Appeal number 3968, applicant is Anthony Mayo, requesting a 13-foot sideline variance for a proposed 384-square-foot detached garage pursuant to Section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Location of properties, 8 Pine Brook Loop, Hopewell Junction. Zoning R1 and resolution offered by zoning board member Rocco Limatone. Whereas the applicant is requesting a 13-foot sideline variance for proposed 380-square-foot detached garage pursuant to Section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Whereas the zoning board of appeals held a public hearing on August 25th of 2020, and whereas the legal notice was published in the Southern Dutchess News on August 12th of 2020. And whereas the action is a type 2 action under SEQA and no further action is required. And whereas the zoning board of appeals finds that the granting of the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the community, as the property will remain residential in nature. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means, as the applicant requires storage space. The variance requested are not substantial. The proposed area variances will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. And now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby approves the request by Anthony Mayo for a variance to allow a 13-foot sideline variance for a proposed 384-square-foot detached garage pursuant to Section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the decision and order to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Is there a second?
Second.
Votes as follows, Jim.
Aye.
Aziz.
Aye.
Rocco.
Aye.
And myself, aye, so your motion carries. Okay?
Congratulations.
Have a good night. Okay, so that was the last of the public hearing, so everybody who's still here should be here for a review, okay? So item number 8, Appeal 3961, I want to say this right, Mall or Molly? Molly, thank you. Douglas Molly, 18 Pamela Road, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 15-foot sideline variance for a proposed 400-square-foot detached garage pursuant to Section 194-107 of the zoning ordinance. Okay, so when we were here last month, we did take a look at this, but we needed you to get your survey updated because not everything was showing on it.
Correct.
So we just got the new survey this evening. So because you had the doghouse and the greenhouse and you had all sorts of things out there that we needed to understand what was where. So,
A number of things were removed, right?
Correct, yep, being proactive.
So that's why they wouldn't be on the new survey, I think.
right, but now we have the greenhouse that wasn't there. The doghouse is gone.
Pole's gone with the tree stand out.
But the greenhouse is only 1.3 feet away from the property line. Is that structure movable?
Well, technically anything's movable, but it's
Is it on a concrete base?
not on a concrete base, but because of the slope of the property, I had to put 6x6s.
Oh, okay.
So it's sort of sitting on the 6x6s.
How long has it
and-
been there?
I'm sorry?
How long has it been there?
I put it up in April.
No.
Like I said, it was part of COVID, so you could see there's planters and the greenhouse, so that's my way of feeding my family if COVID got worse. So I know it's not ideal, the footage, but you can see where the swing set is now.
Yeah. So
If the planters in the greenhouse were to be in line with that swing set, it would be over my leach fields.
Okay,
So
that helps.
like I said, the narrow lot, it's not ideal. I probably should have put it more, or I should have waited and done it properly with, you know what I mean? But at the time, I couldn't.
Okay, so it's showing a stockade fence on your neighbor's property. How tall is that fence?
Correct. It's 6 foot, I believe.
Okay, and does that extend past the greenhouse?
It goes to the corner, right to the corner.
But does it extend to the corner to which way? I'm not sure. So, because the driveway, to me, it looks like it's on the right, but,
Yep, right where that 1.3 is.
Yeah.
That's where the fence ends.
okay.
And then his backyard opens up like my backyard opens up.
Okay.
It's all, looks
But then
like
from that 1.3, it extends to the right where it says 4.0?
correct, all the way
Okay.
up, almost to the corner of my house.
So in essence, you put the greenhouse where it's not visible to your neighbor. That's to your credit.
That's a good thing.
Yes,
So the rod, if you look down from the 4.0, those are, where that second rod is,
Yeah,
where it says stockade, right along there are 3 big pine trees.
okay,
So, and see how my house is tilted?
yeah, yep,
So my view is actually this way, so his view also is this way.
okay.
So I believe I handed in a letter also from him.
Oh, okay. Well, this isn't a public hearing this evening, so
Okay, well,
it helps to have a letter, though. Okay, so what you're proposing is to put this garage behind the shed.
Correct.
Your shed is off an asphalt walk off of the, does your driveway really extend, that's asphalt all the way back to there?
To where the patio is, yeah?
Okay, all right. And so where are the doors to the garage going to be?
Facing into the yard. One door.
And how tall is this structure gonna be?
I believe 12's the max?
It's a garage, so it's.
Yeah, it's a garage, a shed has limits.
I went off some scale off, you know, the drawings I sent. I'm not sure what the actual peak of the roof is, or
I think it's 25 feet.
I think it's
forward.
8-foot wall with,
Oh, this isn't a tie roof, okay. So there's no second floor, that's what I was getting at.
no.
Yeah, you actually give us a drawings and the dimensions of it, so,
that's, you know, the footprint will be exactly what, 20 by 24, but, you know, the siding's gonna be different than that. It's gonna match the house.
okay.
In fact, the side walls are only 7 feet.
Okay,
Yeah, the sidewall height is gonna be about 7 feet, so maybe 12 feet.
I like your pictures, by the way. Dog with no doghouse.
I figure if we can't laugh at that, that's, something's the matter with us.
Yeah,
You
that's,
can still see where the doghouse was, too, yeah.
So, yeah, the doghouse went to another good home, so
Poor dog.
poor dog.
it never went in it once. My 2 twin 3-year-olds were using it more than the dog.
Now he's sitting where it was.
That's usually the case, because he sits there because he noticed something's different, something's missing.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
the swing set, I took a picture of the swing set too, just because this on this map shows like looks like a shed, a structure. You know, a huge thing, but I put the picture to show it's just legs with 4 swings, so.
Okay, so,
It looks off here, like I said, I look down at this, I'm like, okay, that looks big. That looks like,
so when we were here last month, we were actually having the discussion about all the structures that you had there, and the conversation was that you're limited to 1 shed, 1 garage, and 1 additional accessory structure.
I'm at that limit.
You are now at that, exactly.
If this goes through.
Your greenhouse now becomes your additional accessory structure, so yes, this garage, again, with the variance is approved. So you said you got a letter from the Downey side or from the Wiggler side?
From, no, well, nope, that's a different person. Wiegler moved.
Oh, okay,
The new owner has been there about
Okay.
a little less than a year. Yeah.
okay. Do I have a motion for public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so Jackie will give you your instructions, because you have to put a sign on your front yard there. And then we will see you next month for a public hearing.
Thank you.
Yep, have a good night.
Before you go on, I just want to point out for everybody watching, every time someone leaves, Jackie's there cleaning that
Yeah.
podium.
I already pointed out, I said I was gonna take her home.
You said you were going to take her home, yes, but she deserves more recognition than that. And just so the people know, this is one of the things we're doing just to
Yes.
keep everyone
Keep
safe.
everyone safe.
She's disinfecting it, making it all nice, and thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Oh, he's going to watch it now.
Okay, so next up, item number 9, Appeal 3965 Bayo. This is the one that we have to approve a refund because they withdrew their application. Do I have a motion to approve a refund all but $5 of their application fee?
So move.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor? Thank you, Jim. Motion carries? Okay, item number 10, Appeal 3966 Bachnick, Ed Bachnick, 36 Lexington Drive, Wappingers Falls, is requesting a 2-foot height variance to put a 6-foot fence 2 feet in from the property line, pursuant to section 194-98 of the zoning ordinance. Mr. Bachnick. Okay,
Second go.
yeah,
Okay.
it's not here. I mean, yeah, we were looking for information from him too, so I don't think it's been submitted, so.
Okay.
I think the direction at this point is, well, we'll give him one more meeting, okay? And then we'll have Jackie send a letter. Okay, so item number 11, Appeal 3970, O'Leary, Alexandra O'Leary, 101 Sagamore Drive, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 2-foot height variance to have a 6-foot fence in the front yard pursuant to section 194-98 of the zoning ordinance. This parcel is a corner lot. So this is a new application. This is the first time we're seeing your application.
Correct.
So if you don't mind taking us through, and again, starting with the fact that you live on a corner lot.
Yep, so, well, we just bought a dog as well. She's a little golden retriever puppy, so she's full of energy. You know, we're gonna, God willing, have kids one day. You know, we just want a little privacy, and then the neighborhood has a great feel to it. You know, people always walking, kids riding their bikes, but, you know,
Right.
if we're in our pool, you know, somebody's walking by us, you know, they wave to us, it's nice, but at the same time, you know, you're in your backyard, you like a little privacy, you know?
Okay,
That's
understood.
That's kind of our thought process, yeah.
Okay, so is there any landscaping along this side, Sagamore and Better? Okay,
We have woods to the back of us, and then there's a house on the other side. We have one neighbor, and then we have some trees on, next to the road.
On Better there are.
Yeah, on
Okay.
Better Way, there's probably like 5 or 6 pine trees, and then there's a huge opening with no trees.
okay, you said you have a pool. Where is your pool? It's not located on your survey.
We do have a pool, in-ground pool directly behind the
Yeah,
house.
it's right in the middle of the
Right in the middle of the
backyard.
yard.
I see gazebo, patio,
There, yeah,
wood deck.
wood deck. I mean, we just moved in like 3 months ago, so.
And the pool is already there.
Yeah,
Is it a round, is it a round pool?
No, it's an L-shaped pool,
It's in ground.
in ground, yeah. It's fenced in.
Does anybody else see it and I'm just missing it?
No, I don't see it then.
No, it's not here.
So does it go around the wood deck or does it go around the gazebo? Where is it?
Directly behind the gazebo.
Yeah.
Does the
Okay,
pool
so
have
it's not close to the sides of your property, so we don't have to worry
We have a
about.
pretty good
Not
sized
even close.
lot.
Okay, just making sure we didn't have any.
So it's actually the furthest thing away from the house.
Yes, yeah, and then there's actually probably another, I'm estimating, but there's probably another 15, 20 yards to the woods on the other side of the pool.
So-
This is the road and this is the road, so it's the furthest thing was from the far side from the road, so.
You are proposing a 4-foot chain link fence.
Along the back where the
Okay.
woods are, yeah. And
Chain
then-
link fences are not allowed in this town. So, reconsider your options on that one. But my concern would only be as long as, it's because you're on a corner lot, as long as you're not blocking sight distance with your
Yeah.
6-foot fence. Are you gonna put any landscaping on the outside of it? I do see in your application that you gave us a sample of the fence that you're proposing to use, so it's not a solid white fence, but are you proposing any landscape to break it up, because it is a pretty long,
Yeah, no, it's long.
We weren't gonna,
Well, yeah,
You're proposing a couple plantings along there, aren't you?
yeah. No, we're gonna fence the whole thing.
if we didn't do the chain link in the back, well, no, we're not gonna.
yeah,
But we
good
would-
answer.
We would just do maybe like the black cast iron, is that what it's called?
Yeah, we look at cheaper options just
Yeah, 'cause you
because,
just don't
it
feel
was just us seeing it, you know, it's not
Okay.
like,
And it's all wood stuff.
yeah, it's all
Okay.
woods, so.
So, I mean, you don't give the measurement, that's a fairly long
It
length
is.
of fence,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talking
we
about
got
100 feet?
quoted, yeah.
close to a couple hundred feet probably.
He discussed doing the cast, well, the chain link, but now the cast iron a little bit up on the side, but the problem is that there are like 5 tall trees, but then there's this whole gap where you can see into the pool when everyone is swimming.
So
That's why we want the fence
Well,
there.
we get that. What we're concerned about is you're putting up a long expanse of a fence with nothing to break it up along a roadway.
So
Okay,
when
so-
you put up the fence, that group of pine trees are gonna be inside the fence or outside?
Outside.
They'd be on the outside.
Okay, so they're breaking it up, they're breaking up the fence.
Correct, yeah.
That's what we're trying
That's,
to do.
yeah, that's,
Yeah, that's why, once you said that, I knew what you were getting at, yeah.
okay.
So, yeah,
Then that's not so
probably
much.
60% of,
Yeah.
along the street will be the pine trees.
Have
and
some
40%
screening.
fence, yeah.
That's great. Okay, that's important, that's all.
That's all we're trying to get to that.
Okay, so because you don't need any art approval for the chain link fence or the fence in the back. Do I have a motion to approve this for public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so next month you'll come back for the public hearing. As you saw, we ran those earlier. Jackie will give you instructions. You do have a corner lot, you have 2 streets. You're gonna need 2 signs, okay? Because you gotta put a sign on each one of your yards, front yards there, okay? We will see you next month.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good night. And item number 12, Appeal 3913 Tucker, amendment of a special permit to allow an additional 3,500 cubic yards of fill above the initial request of 5,000 cubic yards of fill pursuant to section 194-75 of the town code. We missed a name on this one with the introduction, yes. Okay.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yes, so Lori, right? Yes. So welcome back. So we understand you've been putting your fill in, and you've now reached a point, let me start by saying, when you originally came to this board, you gave us an application, or you gave us a request for a variation, X to X amount of fill. And we were just like, we can't just approve a nebulous number like that. We asked you to actually hone in on a number. And you didn't ask for the maximum amount, I think you asked for the, kind of in the middle or the lower end, right? That's, okay, and so we did a public hearing on that. Everybody agreed that where your lot is, you're on Water, right? Okay. Wow, we're remembering this one, okay. So where you are, the back of your property is just totally dropped off. Okay?
Yep.
And so you have, if I remember correctly, you had a mother that was living there that you were concerned about her, having a safe place to be able to walk around a little bit, so which is one of the reasons you wanted to expand your backyard. And other neighbors on the street had also expanded their backyards by bringing in the fill as well. So there was no objection. The town engineer reviewed the plan and everything else. So, I know everybody worked with you to make sure it was safe environmentally and all the rest of it. So now apparently the idea is that you need additional fill to be able to really accomplish what it is. And so because you came to this board originally and we reduced you down, that's why ultimately you're back.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no actual application here because she's asking for an amendment of the original request. You're probably going a little bit higher than what your original request was, but not that much higher. So based on that, she's just asking for reconsideration of her original request.
Yeah,
Michael,
Do we need to?
that's why I was just going to ask for
Okay.
our counsel. There's a reason he's here. Do we
he
have to?
hasn't been doing anything tonight.
Fairly quiet.
So give us guidance in terms of whether we need to do another public hearing, whether we could just amend the approval that we've already got in place for this.
So with this, it's an amendment of, I believe, a special permit. So generally with those, you do have another public hearing.
Okay. And don't they also have a time period anyway attached to them, or no? Not in this case. It's when they're pulling the fill out. That's what it is.
Yes.
The mining. Okay. Okay, so we are going to have to schedule you for another public hearing. But I don't think any of you, well, one person did come last time. Never mind. Let's not go there. So do I have a motion to approve this for a public hearing?
Motion to advertise.
Second? All in favor? We will see you next month. Do you still have your sign?
I do.
Okay, then please just change the dates on it for next month's meeting. September 24th, Thursday, September 24th will be the next meeting.
Firehouse.
Still sign? I might have to come back and see.
Yeah, just, if you need it, Jackie can get you another one. But if you still have it, you can just use just change the information.
But
Okay.
we'll get another one if I have.
We will see you next month.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
8:15.